The whole Cinder drama inspired a lot of people to come out with their experiences with other creators in the space, their negative experiences. So we'll be covering one of those today, and this is about a creator by the name of Vanilla Beans. A lot of people have come out with their side of their experience with this creator. By the way, if you guys don't know the Cinder stuff, TLDR, real quick, Cinder, big VTuber, her and her manager, aka also her boyfriend, bullied a bunch of their friends, made a blacklist, put all their friends on the blacklist, then sent that blacklist to their artist and told their artist, only work with me, don't work with these people, cancel your project with these people. Yeah, big mean girl energy was absolutely canceled on the internet because that is a humongous betrayal to all of your friends to actively sabotage their projects. The Cinder situation kicked off a lot of people coming forward with their experiences with other people. So here we have Twitter user Lexagon writing, I'm not gonna lie, the whole Cinder situation is just having me relive and replay a lot of things that happened over the last year. Friendships come and go, and I can admit when I was wrong. However, I need to get something off my chest that I've been holding onto for a very long time. This isn't for drama, I'm not looking for a reaction. I need to get this out because I've been holding it in way too long. Vanilla Beans, you were a terrible friend to me. You hurt me more than anyone else in this space ever had. You gave me an ultimatum, told me to pick between you and someone else I cared about. Who does that? That's not friendship, that's control. And it didn't stop there. You got angry at me for not telling you I was engaged to my ex. Like, sorry, I have boundaries and don't want my personal life on display, especially around somebody who made everything about themselves. That was my moment, not yours to be mad about. Everything with you was about numbers, views, retweets, interactions. You treated relationships like networking tools. If something didn't benefit your content or clout, it didn't matter. I saw it, I felt it. You also made that clear. And I'll never forget that stream. The one where you said you were going to fix me. Do you even realize how messed up that is? I thought it was gonna be a funny, haha, look, Lex is weird, but it turned into you belittling me on your stream and to your chat. You gaslit me over and over again, twisted everything until I thought I was the one causing the problems, like I was crazy or overreacting. And I believed you for a while, I really did. Even after we stopped being friends, you kept running your mouth. I kept quiet. I never said a word. But you kept bringing me up. You banned me from a mutual stream. You went out of your way to exclude me, belittle me, tear me down. For what? The last time we ever spoke, a 2-hour phone call where you just yelled at me, talked down to me like I was nothing. I sat through it, but that was the moment I realized you never cared about me. You just wanted control. So this is it. I'm done. I'm not carrying this anymore. I'm not letting your version of the story be the one that plays in my head. You don't get that power. You were a bad friend, you hurt me, and I'm finally letting it go. So tell the next group of people you run through how horrible I am, because honestly, I'm done. So Mara Eventry says, good job, Lex. You've held this in for too long. It is unfair when people can hurt you and get away with it. And Lex says, I should have spoken up sooner, and I should have done something before almost a year passed. I just had a hope that maybe her behavior would change, but she's still the same person. Darkai says, I am so proud of you for speaking up, girl. I've had my own experiences with her, and I'm glad somebody spoke up. Because of Lex's post, a lot of other people felt confident coming forward with their experience as well. So Rachel Pop VT writes, I said I'd never do this, but I'm tired. I too have kept my mouth shut for a long time. I know we have mutuals Vanilla Beans, and I genuinely hope they don't share my experience. I truly hope they have found the positive side and something real, because what I have known of those people is that they are genuine and good humans. Through our friendship though, I, however, could not take the two-faced crap talking, the constant me or them with our mutual friends, which always came as a result of something you had done to embarrass yourself in front of them that you responded to with anger. I chose to quietly distance myself, even saying I would continue to support you, but at the end, I had a breaking point. The constant, I befriend people who are friends with people I want to be close to, followed by a, how many degrees am I from Shy Lily stream, that first felt like a joke, until you mentioned a mutual and went into detail about your plans to use them. It just made me question if your motive for reaching out to me all those months ago was to use me. For what or who, I don't know. Maybe no one, but I didn't like how it made me feel. I chose just to disengage and move on with my life, except you wouldn't let me. Every so often, someone would come out of the woodwork. Oh, Vanilla Bean said you were a horrible person, so I blocked you. Why? What the F did I do? Every so often, I'll find somebody randomly who has me blocked or banned from their stream, and my only assumption is that must be the reason since I see their mutuals with you. I try to stay out of the drama, but I need to get this off my chest because yet again, someone else has come forward telling me they were told by you I'm a horrible person. I truly hope you find peace and genuine friendships with people who you don't just view as a rung on the social ladder to climb. I hope the people you have in your life who do see you as a true friend have that same energy returned. So Lex comments, I appreciate you also speaking up about her behavior. I just hope that she eventually grows up. My empathy can only go so far. And Rachel says, that's understandable considering I know you were much closer to her, and watching the way she treated you on stream sometimes, I'm sure it was no better behind closed doors. Then Helia adds, following up from what two others, Lex and Rachel, school, I wanted to make a proper statement addressing Vanilla Beans. I was originally going to keep this to myself and hoped it was an isolated incident, but after hearing their stories, I wanted to bring forth my own as well. We were quite close at the end of last year and the start of this one, but I chose to distance myself after I noticed toxic traits in her behavior. We were still in one group, but ultimately we had to let her go due to stories of bullying other creators came up. There are many who would like to stay anon, and I am not one to tell their stories, but after hearing them, a lot of things clicked together. She used to stream other VTuber Twitter accounts to me on Discord and talk about how they gave her trauma and are bad people, including Lex and Rach. She would share a blacklist of creators who she claimed were horrible people, but in reality, it was just people who didn't follow her back or she had hurt in the past and didn't want me to know about them. From the start, it seemed like she was socially anxious and was desperate to find friends. But after her telling me how she follows VTubers and unfollows them if they didn't follow her back or answer her DMs, I noticed she was using people for her own success and how obsessed with numbers she is. She would say things like, "Oh, she's only big on Twitter and her streams don't even reach X average viewers," which made me really insecure about my own streaming and numbers. I saw that she just wanted to reach partner even if it meant at the expense of her own friendships. After I got really sick and couldn't stream for a month, it felt like she completely lost interest in me and was almost gaslighting me into thinking that I was the problem and that I was not reaching out to her, when she knew that I was very sick and almost went to the hospital. She would even tell me that I see her more as a coworker than an actual friend, even though it was not true. I was trying to reach out to her and organize a day where we could hang out while getting art pieces for her and for her debut. That's projection, guys. I'm telling you. Like, if people are telling you, like, weird accusations like "you're using me" or "you see me like a coworker," could be because it's true, or it could be because they're projecting onto you their own thoughts, beliefs, actions, etc. So you gotta kind of like smell out which is which. I'm just sad to see that people she was talking to about her giving trauma and being bad people turn out to be the ones hurt by her. And I'm just now questioning how many on her blacklist have been hurt by her. If anyone ever finds me on her list, this is me saying hi and why I guess I was there. I just don't support clout chasing behavior and dropping people off when they have given you numbers on your stream, so you don't need them anymore. If anyone would like to see the blacklist, please DM me. I don't feel comfortable posting it with all the names publicly since I don't know if everyone is comfortable. Okay, by the way, I kept pronouncing their name like L or Ellie. Basically, I know somebody IRL that spells their name this way but pronounces it Ellie, and then I also know a lot of people pronounce it L, so I'm just used to calling this spelling Ellie because of the person that I know. Ellie says, "I am so sorry you had to go through this, and my heart goes out to Lexicon and Rachel Pop too. I know I wasn't close with this person, but as somebody who thought they were really sweet and had a lot of motivation to support them, I'm a little appalled that behavior like this started so early and is carrying into their career as if it's the normal choice, when it's not normal to treat other creators as enemies and give friends ultimatums like this. I'm so effing sorry. No one should value others based on their followings. CCV, friendships in the space are worth having, and people abusing that and making the friendships to be something superficial should be held accountable 100%. Sending you all so much love right now." And Helia says, "Thank you." We have another call out. So this is by Mara Eventry, and Mara writes, "There have been something I need to get off my chest, my experience with Vanilla Beans." And this one actually went viral with 1.8k likes. After hearing others speak up, I decided it was my time to share my personal story with Vanilla Beans. The remark is not intended to incite hatred or harassment towards anyone, but rather to honestly communicate my personal experience and thoughts in the interest of clarity, accountability, and peace of mind. In August of last year, I encountered a situation that had a significant impact on my ability to feel comfortable and safe in the content creation area. After an initial period of neutral private and public contact, I unfollowed Vanilla Beans as part of a routine follower cleanup, a technique I openly promote among friends, especially when timelines diverge in tone or topic. Shortly thereafter, I realized that I had been blocked on Twitter while attempting to share her with a friend who was looking for collabs. While this surprised me, I respected her decision and felt the situation was resolved. Follower cleanups is so normal in the VTuber space, and like, you know, in anybody who uses social media, you'll like unfollow people whose content you don't really consume anymore. But I feel like in the VTubing space, they just take it like really personally. Later, I decided to communicate privately over Discord to describe how the unexpected blocking made me feel. I then chose to block her there as well, preferring to establish distance gently and respectfully without bringing the situation to the public attention. To my dismay, shortly after, Vanilla allegedly made comments about me during a Twitch stream that I felt clearly pointed towards my identity, without naming me directly. This happened immediately after our private communication finished. While I won't speculate on intent, the time and context made me feel targeted and uncomfortable. Viewers from her stream, as well as others friendly with her, later harassed me online. I've saved important messages and a clip from the stream for my records and will release them upon request. In addition, Niara quote retweeted me, which provoked public anger. While this added to the visibility and pressure I experienced at the time, I want to be clear that I do not blame her for standing up for her friend or doing doing what she believed was right. We all respond to situations with the information and loyalties we have, and I respect that. My worry is not with her specifically, but with the greater trend of how internet attention intensifies sensitive issues, leaving people feeling targeted or overwhelmed. While I try to move on privately, the lingering effects of this incident have had an influence on my mental health and trust in professional connections in the VTuber and streaming space. Recently, as more people have spoken out about their own vanilla bean experiences, I felt obliged to share mine, not out of a desire for controversy, but in the aim of contributing to a more transparent and safer creator environment. I've also been told, again through word of mouth, that there are allegations of vanilla making racially insensitive remarks in private calls. I must emphasize that I have not personally witnessed anything and have no tangible evidence. I share this only to contextualize why others may have chosen to distance themselves as well. To be clear, I am not seeking retaliation or drama. I do not support harassment or brigading in any form. I only wish to add my voice to a conversation that has already begun to protect my own mental health and to express support for others who may have been similarly affected. Thank you for reading. Please be respectful to everyone involved and understand that creators are people first. And then so Roderick adds, I support you and Vanilla Bean, so I'm torn and I'm sorry it came to this. I appreciate that you made an effort to sort this privately, and I hope that making this statement has gotten some weight off your shoulders. I wish you the best, Mara. I love you. And Mara says, I never expected to actually speak on it. I was resigned to hold on to it and ignore it for the rest of my life. But when all of these people, mutuals or not, started speaking up, I knew I had to as well. She was reckless with me. She didn't cover her tracks like with everyone else. I have proof and I refuse to be silenced any longer. So then Mara adds, thank you again, Lexicon, Rachel, and Helia for giving me the strength to finally speak on this. Then Mara adds, this got way bigger than I ever expected it to be, so my proof documents will be here from here on out. My timestamp for the VOD is in the proof images document. So we have the statement. So this was the message from Mara to Vanilla August 8th, where Mara says, I noticed you blocked me on Twitter after I unfollowed you during my recent follower cleaning. I figured it would be fine because we're already friends on Discord, but I suppose not. I don't feel comfortable with you anymore, so I'll block you here too. Have a good one. And then this was the quote retweet by Niara, where Niara says, imagine unfollowing your friend on Twitter and having your feelings hurt because they blocked you. Kind of weird to boast about it here as if you're in the right. I'll gladly ruin my opportunities with you as well. Stop being a pick-me and do better. Another comment as well. So we have the VOD for around 24 minutes.
This isn't
Yeah,
like
Vanilla's spilling tea right now.
spilling tea. Because this isn't like subjective drama. Like, this isn't drama where it's like, oh, she said this, he said that. This is like you cannot misinterpret these things. They tweeted, if I just unfollowed you, L. And when I see those posts, I always check. And usually they don't unfollow me because why would they? Why would people unfollow me? But I checked this time and she actually did unfollow me, which I thought was actually crazy because I did think we were friends, like kind of. We were just mutual. We weren't really close, but we did talk once, so it's not like we had never talked. And she did tweet she wanted to be my friend. Anyway, I see it. I'm like, oh damn, that sucks. Whatever. It really didn't hurt that much. Again, we weren't like friends in my eyes. So I blocked them because I don't know, they unfollowed me. I'm just I'll just block them. I don't know. It wasn't a big deal. Yeah, it really wasn't that big of a deal. I just blocked. There was no like second thought behind it. It wasn't like a mwahaha. I didn't expect them to even see that I blocked them. It was really not a big deal. It wasn't like a big block thingy. Anyway, but I did go back to their tweet to see why they might have unfollowed me, and they did say I unfollowed people that were following some bullshit called end wokeness. I don't know what that is. I don't think they meant me with that because I don't know what that is.
I mean, just kind of sounds like some petty unfollow drama. The blocking, unblocking stuff happens all the time. Ludmilla posts, as somebody who has known Mara for a while, this is something that has been weighing on her. To purposely send your audience to attack somebody is not okay. Please send Mara your support at this time. Next up, we have Dark Eye. So Kai writes, regarding my experience with Vanilla Beans. I met Vanilla before I was a VTuber back when I was streaming on a different account. I had a good following on Twitch, but had been on a hiatus at the time. It felt like once she became aware of the fact that I was a streamer, it felt like she began flirting with me pretty intensely. She never said this to me directly, but I'm pretty sure it's because of the amount of followers I had on my other account at the time. I admit I flirted back and fed into it. I had really appreciated the attention at the time. Looking back now, I feel embarrassed. We were doing a collab which Lex was involved. During that collab, she treated all of us horribly. She was very controlling and extremely abrasive towards us during intervals, to a point of bringing some members of the collab to tears due to her behavior. All because she was upset by our gameplay. She tried to control the entire session, and I will attach a clip from that stream to this thread. Once I came into my new identity and rebranded as Darkai with all brand new socials, she began to disengage with me. It felt like she realized with me starting back over from square one with 0 followers, she wasn't interested. I only spoke with her maybe once or twice more after my rebrand, and it felt cold and distant. During my debut, despite claiming she wanted to help and support me, she got angry when it was suggested she raid me during my debut. Please note I'm not upset by not being raided by her. I genuinely don't care. What I'm upset upset about is the anger she expressed towards my friends over a suggestion that she supports me. Who she rated was entirely her choice, and again, I'm not mad about it. I am just hurt and sad that she so easily dismissed me after claiming she wanted to help me and making me feel like I was her friend. I felt like she only wanted to be a part of my life and support me based on my follower account prior to my coming out. After that, it felt like I was of no value to her and just dropped, and that's what truly hurt me. And for her to add me to her blacklist on top of that, which very well could mean I lost connections with certain VTubers I might not have the chance to get back, also really stings. Please don't send any hate her way. That's not what I intend to do with this post. It's purely for peace of mind.
Yeah, on the floor. It's on the floor. Do you see it here? Do you see it here on the floor?
Wait, the door's open, guys.
Do you want to take it?
Dirt guy! Oh! Sorry, I'm getting... Ugh!
What?
Sorry, I can't stand when people don't do what I say. I'm so sorry. There, almond water. Drink.
What an odd thing to say. What do you mean I can't stand when people don't do what I say? What? That's weird. Mara comments, thank you for always being there, Kai. And Kai comments, heart, heart. Helia says, this should never be okay. Flirting with someone just to gain something out of you, I am so sorry. Area VT adds, I was mutuals with them for a while. They did a rating stream and didn't even recognize me and low-key mocked my name because every VTuber with this name has white hair. It really left a bad taste in my mouth. Whee! Look, he's a unit of a cat. Look how big he is. Area continues, it left a really bad taste in my mouth. I'm sorry this happened to you. I guess true colors eventually come out. I ended up changing my name because that's how bad it made me feel. Like no one would ever notice me. Other people in the comments are adding their side as well. So Shiori adds, so sorry you had to deal with this. The kind of energy she gave off in that clip. I've had that before in collabs too. She would get mad if things weren't going the way she expected, which always rubbed me the wrong way. You and the others are very brave for coming forward. And Ellie says, my heart dude, incredibly disappointed as somebody who wanted to support this creator. Please support Helia, Lexi, and Rachel, as well as anyone else who may come forward. They don't deserve to be treated the way they were. This should not be a standard practice for anyone. Friends are not stepping stones to success. I'm going back to bed. Reminder to never idolize people you literally never know. We have another person who came to me with their experience with vanilla. I will keep the name redacted, but if they do choose to have their name kept in here, I'll put it on screen. But they reached out to me and said that they met Vanilla during a collab and they hit it off super well, that Vanilla seemed super sweet and they liked them, and they ended up collabing and talking in DMs, that they didn't know Vanilla for very long, but it felt like they were becoming good friends. However, about a month ago, after a collab, Vanilla kind of went in on them. This VTuber was on Vanilla's stream playing Outlast Trials on a day they didn't stream. So one of their friends came in and lurked, and according to the VTuber, the friend is really sweet. And then Vanilla was weird. So after the stream, Vanilla wanted to talk to the VTuber about this friend and sent a screenshot from Mix It Up showing the amount of times that friend has been in Vanilla's stream and was upset the friend didn't lurk. The VTuber was just trying to defend their friend, saying, oh, she's probably busy or she probably had too many streams open to count as a viewer, and it made Vanilla more mad because the VTuber was not agreeing with Vanilla. Vanilla then went in on the VTuber about somebody they were following on Twitter that she doesn't like, and Vanilla ended up calling the VTuber some names that really shocked them. Vanilla told the VTuber that they were spineless and that they hated spineless people and that they were a Nazi sympathizer for following the person. The call ended with Vanilla telling them that they needed to listen to her and think about the people they surround themselves with, or they were gonna get canceled. And the VTuber cried after the call because they felt like it was just a crazy switch that flipped. And then today, a friend told the VTuber that Vanilla had told her on stream while playing Marvel Rivals that the VTuber was a sympathizer witch. The VTuber freaked out because one, it's untrue, and two, that is crazy bad to call somebody. That is a huge accusation, by the way, to make towards somebody. And the VTuber is just too scared to say anything because they don't want to be attached to drama, but this is just kind of happening. So this is the message from Vanilla to the redacted VTuber, showing the friends in the Mix It Up bot that they were following for about 3 months. And Vanilla then says, I am sorry, VTuber, it shouldn't have gotten that deep. I got kind of annoyed that you were making excuses for the friend's behavior, and I felt invalidated in my feelings. Then it just carried over to the powder situation. You can do whatever you want, it's none of my business. I'm really sorry. I didn't want you to think I was mad at you because I'm not. I tried to prove a point and I went too far. You know, okay, this is a bit of a hot take, guys. A little bit of a hot take, okay? But I feel like too many times in these drama situations I cover, the perpetrator is like, you didn't consider my feelings. I felt my feelings were invalidated. Your feelings are invalid because you're kind of crazy, bro. Like, if you're feeling mad that this person didn't lurk your stream, and then what? The VTuber is giving really valid excuses to try to calm you down. Like, oh, they're probably busy. Or maybe it was taxing their CPU to tab too many streamers, so you just couldn't make the list. It's chill. Calm down. And you freak out. You're like, my feelings are hurt because they didn't lurk my streams. do you know how entitled you sound right now? And then you're mad, so then you start accusing the VTuber of being a Nazi sympathizer. Again, this is a whole side thing about Twitter, but a lot of Twitter will like get mad at people for following people. We're like, this person was accused of this and you follow them, so you must support their beliefs. Guys, it can be true that like if you follow a whole bunch of people that sympathize with alt-right, that you probably align with those values, but have we also considered the other side, that maybe they just aren't chronically online, so that the other account whatever made one post that was sus and they weren't online, so they just never saw it? Have we considered that that could be possible? So just following somebody isn't a smoking gun, and I feel like Twitter just doesn't know that. Now, if the VTuber was like actively commenting under sympathizing posts, being like, yeah, I agree with you. Okay, now we have a smoking gun. We know they align with those values. Can we just give benefit of doubt? And a lot of times people aren't on Twitter 24/7 and they probably, benefit of doubt, didn't see the one funky tweet. I think we didn't think about that. But this vanilla person's behavior is absolutely wild, because why are there so many accounts of this VTuber being an absolute mean girl to so many people? And we've heard this way too much now of, you didn't do what I say. I hate calling people crazy because it feels very disrespectful in a way to say that, because typically it's more nuanced than that. But vanilla sounding crazy. You cannot control everybody. You cannot control the actions and behaviors of those around you. And in my opinion, it should not bother you as much as it does if people don't behave the way you want them to behave. And I think it's weird to want people to act in a certain way. I'm not talking about, hey guys, I hope we all advocate for like trans rights. Like, I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about the, you should have played Phasmo in this specific way, or you should have played Repo in this way. Like, why didn't you like take 2 steps here? That's weird. And again, with the call with that VTuber where Vanilla was like, I was upset because you didn't do what I say. If it's triggering you this much that people aren't behaving in the way that you expect them to behave, it's like the saying, if it smells like shit everywhere you go, you should check under your own shoe. And I truly, and I'm not trying to say this in a condescending way, you do need to seek help if this is how you're acting, because the world just doesn't work like this. And this looks to be the final document. This is posted by Kylapse, writing, seeing others come out with their pieces. Here are my plus Kirikage's experience with Vanilla Beans. Kylapse says, I never had much of a personal connection with her. Didn't have anything as bad as others, but I feel I should still share my funny doc. This looks to be the final document. So Kylapse writes, so before I begin, I would like to say please go send support and love to those coming out with their statements before this. I wasn't as directly hurt, mistreated, and what have you as several others, because I didn't have much of a relationship with Vanilla Beans outside of mutual interactions. I don't know if this may give a bit of a different perspective from some of what I've seen so far. With most people coming forward, they appear to be people who were seen as ones with value that would later be discarded. Whereas I started off baseline as nothing particularly worth one's time. Of course, there will still be similarities to others as well. Kylapse continues, on another note, I have a tendency to write a lot more than I usually need to because I'm bad at simplifying, so I do apologize if this turns into a long stretch. Going forward, I'll refer to Vanilla Beans as V for short. I had a second name put under an anonymous letter. However, Kirikage said I should share his name in my document, so he will be listed as Kagi. I will open with my few interactions with Vanilla before the funking interaction, then write about the actual interaction after. Interaction 1. Alright, so Vanilla, I was part of a VTuber group and befriended a handful of creators involved. We would collab a bunch, play a handful of games. I don't recall how frequently myself and Vanilla played together. It wasn't much, but there were at least a few. When we did play together, I acted as I do with most people, being a silly goober, not taking things seriously, but staying relatively on track. Everyone responded typically the same, positive and laughing, except for Vanilla. Now, that in itself is fine. No harm if not everyone shares the same sense of humor or outward enjoyment in everything you do. However, if I ever did crack jokes, she would try to dismiss it, tell me how my bits were unwarranted or wrong to make, relatively innocent and appropriate bits, telling me to hurry up or just to remind me that there's a certain way I should be doing X, Y, and Z. She showed a strong sense of wanting to have things follow in how she wanted them to be, relatively straightforward and on task. And you start to deviate or get silly, she would get rather upset. It would put me off a tad, but to be respectful after noticing a pattern, I try not to be too random with bits and keep it more leveled out while occasionally being silly. I recalled in content warning a bit back, I was the cameraman, the person tasked with the most important job of filming stuff in game, so we could win and progress further. She kept pushing that I really needed to focus and be on task with my camera work, and having short vocal fits that she'd cut herself out for, because I would turn my focus to something else for a few seconds. Now, this isn't an end-all be-all of a person. I've known people who take some games seriously and want to follow in a general tone, typically in more tense games where communication is important. But with how the tone of this specific stream was before, we had a bigger lobby in this instance that was a lot more unhinged and wild. Things were pretty unserious and goofy. When we had to drop down to 4 people due to connection issues with the lead host and so many extra bodies, we still had sillies, but on my own end, I was starting to feel I couldn't play how I had been for that stream, and I started treating it like I had these set expectations on me, and how I was disallowed to express myself as I had been previously. Though during the time, the other two who Vanilla and I played with went around, were silly, not that serious, and played around, but she didn't say as much to them on how they were handling the stream. Again, this isn't all that terrible, it's just a tad bit unfun. Instance 2. The date is April 28th, 2024. Oh hey, it's been over a year now. Lexicon and Vanilla are hosting a VR chat dating show with a handful of VTubers. I joined because I thought it would be a fun experience. We went through the whole ordeal that the streams ended. Most people left with only 5 or 6 remaining. I think it was about a year ago, forgive me if details are unclear. There was myself, Vanilla, Kage, and however many others in post. We were all sat having talks about general life things, streamings, relationships with the people around us, or who weren't present. Then Vanilla started to get very emotional. I don't remember exactly what all she went on about, but I believe she talked about how much she cared about relationships, struggled with making friends, maintaining relationships, and what have you. You know, very emotionally driven care and want for a positive social environment. A lot of us comforted her and voiced our own personal bits. Then after some time, the party dropped to 4 people. Vanilla, Kage, Jay, they don't play much of a role in the story, but I'll call them Jay for now, and myself. We hung out for a tad bit more as 4, then Jay went to play around with the VR chat world's radio music. Myself, Vanilla, and Kage moved around the area chatting. It was a closed indoor world, so there was only so much to explore, and things were all right. Typically, she would really push on convos with Kage, and I would sometimes chime in with my own piece or start the odd dialogue here or there. After some time, Vanilla needed to step away, so Kage and I sat and talked about more life things for a fair amount of time while standing around AFK Vanilla. Mid-convo, Kage and I noticed that Vanilla was starting to move again, so we turned to her while talking, and one of the first things she said was basically, Kylabs, I need you to go away. Like, leave. Go fuck off, just fuck off. And I was really taken aback by that. I believe she needed to talk to Kage about something privately, so I thought, alright, it might be an important personal thing, I'll go for a while and let them do their thing. Not the most respectful way to ask somebody to step away, but it is what it is. Now, I wasn't informed till months later that Vanilla was apparently very obsessed with Kage throughout the dating show and had clung to him a lot. I don't know what it is they talked about in this time, or if she just wanted one-on-one time with him. After that, I went off to find Jay. Jay was hanging out by the radio still and was also checking things out outside of the game. There wasn't much going on, so I decided to walk around the map a few dozen times to entertain myself. I'm nocturnal, and I don't believe I slept before the stream, so I was running off of 24 plus hours of being awake. I only stayed around because I wanted to hang out with people, but one was doing their own thing and the other 2 were having private talks. I roamed for a solid bit of time, looping the map dozens of times, trying to entertain myself and stay awake. After roaming around the map, I was at a wall space where I could hear Kage and Vanilla talking, and they're just talking about casual, normal things. I poked my head nearby where they were, but I felt they were still having one-on-one, so I went back to Jay for a bit. Jay eventually left the radio area, and we ran up to Kage and Vanilla. After a short chat, Jay left the game. I was back with the pair, and we continued our walk and talk to another room. Now, at this point, we were chatting, but after coming back, I felt very much like a third wheel. We would start a convo, and Kage would give his input on the convo. Vanilla would give her input, I would give my... Vanilla would switch the topic, talking directly to Kage. Kage would give input, Vanilla would speak more. I would start speaking with Kage turning towards me, giving attention. Vanilla would then start speaking up with more sights while a mid-talk, then switch the convo to something else. It kept a lot of me getting cut off or not getting full points across, and Vanilla bringing attention back to Kage, wanting to learn more about Kage and getting the insights of him, while Kage himself will sometimes throw the convo back at me, letting me get some more points in. Of course, I did have times where I could speak normally, as I do in convos, but a handful of times I would be cut off by Vanilla, but I would never be cut off if Kage guided the convo back to me, and that was what I was talking about. One thing I considered during this was the possibility of a delay in voices, and maybe she would talk when I was silent, and that's what kept happening. But with Kage reacting to me by turning when I started, and the fact I would be 10 plus words into a sentence before being cut off by Vanilla, she would be on time responding to Kage whenever he spoke, or the few turns to me when I spoke. A delay couldn't be the issue because there wasn't any consistency to it. So throughout the discussion, it felt as though Vanilla was only there for Kage, and me being present was so unimportant or unwelcome thing for she just wanted to know everything about Kage. Now, Vanilla was very emotional not long after the streams ended, and she was talking about relationships with others, making friends, and what have you. But after most people were gone, she was basically only there for Kage, and my involvement would constantly be dismissed so she could talk more with him personally. Even when he and I had our one-on-one, I was just told to go away the moment she came back. Again, I don't know what the reason for it was, if it was properly important or just wanting to have time alone with him, but I was basically dismissed from further interaction so she could have hers. Eventually, we left VR chat, took our convos to a public Discord VC. The cutoff still happened, but much less frequently. It made me question if it was really a VR chat delay, then parted ways, and that was the last time I ever interacted with her directly. This to me really sounds like Vanilla probably just had a thing for Kage, but again, how you treat people is very important, and regardless of whether you have a thing for somebody or not, like actively telling somebody to F off so you could kind of like hog that person and directly cutting them out of the conversation is very disrespectful. The doc continues. Final thoughts. Again, my own situation wasn't anything grandiose, and I probably wrote more than what was needed. But up until present day, in my almost 5 years of streaming, I never had somebody be so directly disrespectful towards me, and the experience left a sour taste in my mouth. I feel the difference I have with the handful of people so far is many people were viewed as being of value to her and her growth. They would get tossed aside and talked bad about after. Whereas I feel with my low following and low stats in other fields, I was treated more so as somebody who was already so lacking in value, I wasn't worth the time to be given, and my inputs didn't matter. On top of that, with Kage, I wasn't worth the time either, because Kage was this amazing person that she had a lot more interest in outside of numbers. I don't care about stats, but he had lesser than me across platforms, as far as I was made aware. It's not as though I craved the attention, but rather I didn't want to be treated as an inferior because I had nothing to provide. At the end of the day though, what really bothers me is how she presented herself to the general public as this girly pop streamer who presents this super cheery, welcoming vibe. It promotes her want to make more friends. Meanwhile, at the end of the day, she heavily devalues those who can't benefit her, coordinates who she wants to get close to because of the clout and connections she can get from them, cuts anyone out once they reach the point where they can't benefit her much anymore, disagreeing with her decisions, then goes smearing those same people's good names and encouraging others to blacklist or block such over made up stories because of drama that bore from her own decisions. This is taking into account stories I've heard from Twitter as well as externally. I don't know if this is making a mountain out of a molehill, but I would like to share it. For my story, it was more of a in-the-moment type of hurt, but not anything huge. Some months after it happened, I hopped into a VC with a handful of pals on Discord, and mid-discussion they brought up Vanilla again, after I'd not seen her in a long time outside of live on Twitch. They caught me up to speed on what they experienced with her, and I shared mine. I checked her Twitter profile, and things are pretty standard over there, though I decided to stop following her. After a few months, I checked back to see if much had been brought up about her actions, and I was blocked. I never said anything to her after the dating show, so I assumed she either saw I stopped following and blocked me, or because I was a mutual from the same general group of VTubers she's caused problems with, she blocked me. Regardless, it is what it is, but yeah, that was my experience with Vanilla. Anyways, proud of the folks who have come forward about their experiences with her. Obviously, this isn't meant to be an attack, but me saying, hey, multiple people have been treated poorly by this person for a long while, so I'll share my piece too. So Kiri Kage also has their experience at the end. They write, essentially what happened is, one, to really tell or be able to notice when somebody's acting more friendly, and so during the entire night, I thought it was more just friendly, and I kind of left it at that. But afterwards, I had gotten several DMs that were a lot more than friendly and kind of controlling. Those I had more or less brushed off as we had just met and had a collab stream with a few others coming up. In that stream, she said several demeaning and disrespectful things towards myself and others in the stream. After that, I left and didn't talk to her for a while until she reached back out to me probably about a month after, where she had gotten into a fight with a bunch of my friends. Though I didn't know that until she called me and then blew up on them and then demanded me to block them and blowing up on me when I said no. She then went on and said stuff on stream about me, to which I then blocked her. I've just had quite a few interactions like these in the community, that and the fact she always had to act sexual around me was super uncomfortable and unsettling. So this is actually, wow, this looks to be the end of the documents and stuff coming out as of now. This is being filmed on April 30th, but yeah, because of the whole Sinder situation, it has inspired a lot of people to come forward with their Sinder-esque experiences with other people in the community. So show love to all the parties involved. They absolutely deserve. So far, Vanilla hasn't said anything, but yeah, show your love to Lex, Rachel, Helia, Mara, Kylapse, and Kage as well. This absolutely sucks, and they don't deserve to be treated like being lesser than, like you're only a stepping stone used to kind of progress somebody else's career. It is just not fair whatsoever. But if you like the video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. I also have a VGen with art and stuff on there, and I also have a coffee with free resources for streamers and creators, and I also stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So hope to catch you guys there or in another one of my videos.